Good morning, afternoon, and evening, everyone. Welcome back to a fresh new episode of Knock of the Perch, a Manchester United podcast. Today, we'll be talking about our next match against FC Twente. Oh, yes, Wednesday Europa League nights are back. After a brief stint in Champions League last season, wasn't very successful, by the way, we are back in Europa League with the aim of winning it. Hey, Aruj, how have you been?
Doing well, still trying to wrap my head around how did we not score a goal in that game against Crystal Palace after the kind of half we had. We had some positives out of it and hopefully we are able to carry those through in the Europa League. But yeah, man, Wednesday night Europa League just doesn't sound right. I mean, they're having Champions League games on Thursdays, they're playing Europa League games on Wednesday. It sounds odd and the entire format has also been changed. Unlike last many years where there used to be 8 groups of 4 teams each playing 3 teams away and home. This time we have 32 teams in one large group and they are divided into 4 pots, pot 1, pot 2, pot 3, pot 4. And United were in pot 1 and they have drawn 8 opponents, 2 from each of the pots. And the game against Twente, who were in pot 4, is our first home game from that. And in order to be qualifying to the next round, we need to finish either in top 8 or between top 9 and top 24. Top 9 and top 24 play a playoff round. So it is ideal if we finish top 8 to avoid that home and away fixture, which will be a playoff. So yeah, quite a different format, a little bit of complications for people who are now starting to follow some of this. But yeah, I'm sure we will get around.
I think it increases a lot of workload on the players, and the players have been complaining about it a lot, players as well as the managers. It will impact the quality of play which we see. We're already seeing key players being dropped at Premier League matches, managers relying on rotation more and more. Squad size, squad depth will come in handy. We have talked it enough number of times. We do have quite a good squad depth this season. If we don't have injuries, I think we can go deep into most of the competitions we are going into. And yes, Europa League is one of them, which is not just winnable. It is a must for United to go as deep in the tournament as possible, considering how difficult it has become to gain Champions League qualification via the Premier League now, right?
Yeah, we are 7 points from 5 games. So it's not going to be easy to get qualification from the league route. However, we still believe top 4 is possible. But when you have another route to the Champions League, I think we should give it our all. And first things first, as I said earlier, the first step should be to qualify top 8 through the league. There were some analytics that was run when the draw was coming out, and the probability of finishing in top 8 is very high if you finish 15 points and above. So that will mean maybe 5 wins or draw, something like that, at the least, to be able to qualify top 8. And given the kind of opposition I was seeing, I think that should be possible. We should be able to finish top 8. And just on that workload and injury aspect, I think we're already starting to see some of those. I was hearing Rodri for Manchester City is out of the season apparently. He just came back from an injury after the Euros. And I think this was his second game. He started the Champions League one and the game against Arsenal. And I think it's a ACL injury and he's out. And I think that will be a big dent to their Premier League aspirations. Rodri is the mainstay. So yeah, we are seeing the impact of that. Every manager, most of the players, senior players are assertively talking about the fact that these are too many matches and it doesn't hold well for them.
Correct. So just seeing the opposition which is front of us, we know Twente, Erik Ten Hag, our manager, has played for them he has had a long playing career for them. We have so many Dutch players with us, so we will have a good working knowledge of how they work as a team, wouldn't we?
The fact that we have so many Dutch nationals in our coaching staff, I'm sure they understand the teams from the Eredivisie well. But yeah, Erik Ten Hag seems to have another love story with Twente, right? He did mention in the presser that, he doesn't look at their game in terms of analyzing how they're playing. He supports them like a true supporter. He's been supporting Twente as a child and he got identified by the Twente Academy, had 3 different stints with them, retired from Twente, got into early managerial roles with under 17, under 19 teams. So yeah, I think although he wouldn't want to hurt them, but I think we have to be very professional about it, and I'm sure he will be, no doubts about that. What is our understanding of how Twente play?
So yeah, they do qualify for Europe more often than not. They finished third last season. They do employ a possession-based football. we will see a lot of, again, it will be a battle of the midfields when we see them. So their goalkeeper is a key personal in this one. He helps them maintain that positions, creating the overloads in the midfield. They employ a 4-2-3-1 system. So I believe our 4-2-4 system should be good enough to match their tenacity in the midfield. In their first 6 matches, they are at 11 points. They've scored 12 goals. They have conceded 5. And the most recent game, they won 5-0 against Almere.
Yeah. Almere, I think, I'm not too sure, but it seems like they're relegation fodder. They're one of the weakest teams in the Eredivisie this year. So we should not be making too much out of that 5-0 victory, but they should be coming in a bit of confidence. At the start of the season, they in fact went through the Champions League qualification where they narrowly were beaten by RB Salzburg over 2 legs. I think 5-4 was the aggregate score. So quite a high scoring one. And I was looking at their last year. So they had 69 goals in 34 games, which is like a little over 2 goals a game. So they're not goal shy. I think Sam Steen, I hope I'm pronouncing his name correctly, has been their mainstay, has been their talismanic figure. He was their highest goal scorer last year, and this year also he has already scored 6 goals. And he plays in that cam number 10 kind of a position, has a higher creativity than some of the other players, and is good in front of the goal as well. So I think he could be a key figure. And if I were to just try and understand their cam, I think we'll be up against our pivot, and Ugarte, I'm assuming, should start after having been rested or having not played the Premier League game. So I think Ugarte versus Steen could be a good battle for us to see. And I think if we are able to win that for majority of the match, we should come out of this game.
Something which brings a bit more confidence for me in this game is United's score against Dutch sides and Twente score against English sides. So United has played about 9 games against Dutch teams and have won 7 of those games. We have won 7 out of 9 games. On the other hand, Twente have only won 1 in 13 games. They have lost 7 of them. They've drawn 5 of them. So only in their last 13 meetings against English sides, they have only won once. And considering they are a team from the pot 4, I believe it should be an easy win for United, considering if we play our cards right.
Yeah, I mean, based on the statistics, based on the information we have through the UEFA coefficient, etc., this is definitely a winnable fixture for us. We will need those 3 points because this is as easy as it gets, right? This is pot 4 at home.
What makes it even more important is how we performed in the Champions League last year. We only won 1 game out of the 6. We finished bottom of the group. We didn't even qualify for the Europa League after the group stage. That was a bad performance. A lot of people owe it to the form of Onana, who, by the way, I should mention, the last 3-4 games has been exemplary for us. Like close to man of the match. All 3 man of the match performances he has given. All 3 clean sheets that we have kept in the last 3 games. We do owe it to Onana.
Onana won the man of the match, official man of the match from the United app. I think that although he was not my player of the match, I think it was Mazraoui for me. But yeah, the fans are supporting him as well. So I think that double save really put him up in the popularity contest.
Definitely. So Aruj, given Onana's form, we do believe Onana will be starting this one. Who are your back for this game?
Yeah, back four, given we still lack an option at left back, I have a feeling maybe except one of the central defenders where Harry Maguire could come in. I see rest of the 3 being same. So either Martinez or De Ligt get rested for me. Maguire comes in, Dalot and Mazraoui start.
No, I agree. I believe Maguire has done enough this season to earn a start. I think rotation will be key. In the midfield, I also believe Ugarte should be starting this one. He has done enough to show he should be starting this one. Menu could be rested. Eriksen definitely should be rested. I do see double of Mount as well as Bruno starting this one, and it will be a good game for Bruno to show some redemption in this one. I believe Mount and Ugarte will be forming the double pivot and Bruno will be starting right. We saw this in the first 2 games wherein Bruno and Mount were complementing the pressing structures between themselves. I believe it is a good game to bring that into play.
So you're saying Mount starts 8 along with Ugarte at 6.
Correct.
Yeah, for me, I think Casemiro will start along with Ugarte.
Is it?
And I think it sort of plays well to where Casemiro is in his playing style and playing career-wise now. He still has a good forward pass in him. He still has good distribution in him. So if he has Ugarte behind him at 6, it can either be a double pivot or playing in more of a free role at 8 because he also bombards forward. So it could be Casemiro and Ugarte for me as the double pivot. Maybe, just maybe, if Mount is fit enough to start, he starts instead of Bruno in number 10.
I don't believe it's a good time for us to be dropping Bruno. Bruno already had not a great game against Crystal Palace. I believe this is a good game for him to get his mojo back. Let's see. You might be right. All we know is Mount will be getting some minutes into this one for him to gain some confidence before the much more important first game coming this weekend. Correct?
Yeah, absolutely. Which is why I said if he's ready to start, otherwise Bruno starts and maybe comes off in the 60th minute so that his energy also comes out. But yeah, then moving on to the front three, is Højlund fit enough to start as our lead attacker?
I believe so. We saw some minutes from Højlund in the last game. We have been playing with Zirkzee. Zirkzee has been playing brilliant, by the way. Maybe Zirkzee is given the nod ahead of Højlund again. Then Højlund comes for like 30 minutes. I'm owing that to the fact that Zirkzee has gelled very well with our wingers. We already have a lot of options in the wingers. I believe Zirkzee might get the nod ahead of Højlund, but wouldn't be surprised to see Højlund brought on at 60 minutes again like the last game. On the wingers front, I believe Rashford will be starting this one. And on the other end, Ahmad will be starting. So I believe it's another game in which Garnacho gets rested.
Okay, now I'm just starting to think in terms of equal distribution of minutes is maybe how Erik Ten Hag is looking at it. So Rashford got rested, so he should start. Ahmad got rested against Barnsley or came on as a substitute with some minutes. So yeah, going by that logic, Ahmad and Rashford should start. Maybe if we are doing well, there may be some minutes for Anthony. But just circling back to the forward situation, why I was saying Højlund could start is he has had a good record in Europe. He was our standout player in the Champions League and it will be a good one to boost his confidence back. So if he can get in a couple of goals, if he's fit enough to start, get in a couple of goals, and maybe Zirkzee comes in after giving him 60 minutes. So either of those combinations. But yeah, the only thing is both are complementary players to each other. Our style of play drastically changes with each of them. So the link-up play is very good with Zirkzee. With Højlund, you get that player who can run in behind the defenders. So yeah, I think some of that will come into play. But this actually predicted lineup is difficult to call because we will first time observe how Erik Ten Hag is treating the Europa League with, midweek fixtures and all of that. But it will be interesting to see how it pans out.
Two things. I think Erik Ten Hag will be taking Europa League super seriously because that's the only Euro competition. That's one of the most knockout competitions which he hasn't won in the 3 years.
And by natural series of progression, we won Carabao, we won FA. Now I think we have graduated to Europa League and maybe in the next year, Premier League, the year after that, Champions League.
Definitely. So yeah, I do think Erik Ten Hag will be taking this very seriously. Secondly, I cannot wait to see Zirkzee and Højlund together on the pitch. Like you mentioned, they do complement each other. I believe they'll be very good on the pitch together. Wherein Zirkzee is finding passes to the wingers. And I feel those chances which we are creating will be finished by Højlund if Højlund was in the team. He is that kind of poacher now who will be taking on those chances and will be scoring. We saw him for 15 minutes against Arsenal and he bombarded the box, trampled Gabriel and scored a brilliant goal. Of course, he went injured for a couple of months after that. But yeah, those 15 minutes brought me so much more confidence into Højlund that he will be starting. He will be taking on this season from this match. And I do think there's a goal in it for this match itself.
In fact, I was also giving it a thought. I was having a Twitter conversation with one of the users and they had talked about these Højlund and Zirkzee starting together, and which made me think, how is it that they can start together if it is the front two? And if we have to play Højlund and Zirkzee in the front two, then maybe we have to sacrifice some wingers. But the other challenge is the way we play, wingers are our outlet. So that will mean a drastic change in play because to play two up front, unless you are going radical and playing two wingers and two up front in a sort of an inverted formation where we are playing 4-2 and 4 in the front, which is very unlikely. We will end up playing 1 and then 2 ahead. So either Bruno plays that 10th role and then there are two strikers, or we play like a 4-4-2 where our wingers, they will have to do a lot more defense because we will be one midfielder light in that position. And the way we are playing is we are trying to create an overloaded midfield. So that I'm not sure. The other way I thought it could be that we play two up front, but those two are Rashford and Højlund. And Zirkzee is playing in 10 and Bruno moves to 8 with Manu and Ugarte.
Yeah. No, I think the second scenario is the most likely. When we play like a 4-4-2, a player from the midfield would be sacrificed. That being said, we have seen Zirkzee play as a number 10 very well. So that 4-4-2...
He will be dropping in and giving, adding a man in the back.
That's correct. So that will look like a lot like 4-3-3. It is a very FIFA discussion which we are having. I don't know how it will translate on the field. That is why I'm very excited to see these two on the field together, Zirkzee as well as...
I'm sure maybe not from the starting 11, but there will be games when we are chasing games. We will have both of them playing.
One thing which I've seen Erik Ten Hag do is he loves balance in this team. So, whenever a midfielder is sacrificed, we do bring on someone who can, counter with the running and all. So it's not a very likely scenario to happen, but yeah, something which I'd love to see. What is the scoreline you're predicting for this match, Harash?
I think we win this one 3-0.
Yes.
Home match, FC Twente, I'm sure it should be a comfortable win for us. Hopefully we continue keeping clean sheets. We are stable at the back. We control the game. And yeah, either if he starts or comes on from the bench, I'm backing Højlund to grab one, Rashford to grab another one, and maybe some redemption for Bruno.
Considering Twente are like in the top 4 of Eredivisie, they also play possession-based football. I feel this will be a bit more tighter. I feel this will be 2-0 or a 2-1. I do believe they will somehow nick a goal. We do leave ourselves a bit open at times. We have seen in the past 3 games, Onana has come into play at some point or the other. Even though his form brings me a lot of confidence that we will keep a clean sheet, and I hope we do, I still feel Twente might have a goal in them. That being said, I am going for a 2-1 or a 3-1 victory for United.
Yeah, so I think I agree it's not going to be easy, but maybe the Onana European redemption arc is on and he continues to save us, redeem himself of the sins he committed last year. He was terrible in the Champions League. United style of play wasn't great, but we were still in a position to grab wins. But if I remember correctly, at least 3 games we lost because of him. And yeah, we were managed to win 1 game because of him as well, where he saved that penalty. I think that home game, which was the only game we won. Hopefully we keep a clean sheet. We keep many clean sheets and go deep in this competition.
Well, I think you're right. We scored enough number of goals last time to have progress from the game if it wasn't for the leaky defense. But yeah, here's hoping for a better European campaign this time. Here's hoping that we can go deep into the Europa League as well as win it. This brings us to the end of the episode. We'll see you again after the game, hopefully after a win.
And yeah, as always, this is our perch. Let's knock him off. Until next time, stay united.